week we talked about, in a nutshell, bottom line, the first sign of spiritual maturity is the amount of love that flows through you. Right? So if we really want to know how we're doing spiritually, just ask the people around you. They'll let you know. This morning, we're going to be talking about contrast and what that looks like in our lives. And we talked about this call last week, the difference between being called and the calling, and who the called are, right? As Christians, we're the called. Right? We get this effectual call from Christ. We accept He becomes our Savior. He transforms our lives. And now we're called the call because we have Jesus. And inside of that call, there is a call to obedience, to follow His commands. And that's what we were talking about. And we're not to grieve the Holy Spirit, right? Because that's wrong and that's sin. We are to live our lives in such a way that it brings honor and glory, right? Or as we talk about, like, respect. Right? We need to live a life that brings God the respect and honor He deserves. And that brings us to this morning. So if we're going to do that, if we're going to try to live a life that's honoring to God, some things have to change in our lives. As we're talking about those changes this morning. So as I read our passage this morning, I want you to look and listen for the contrast in the verses. We're going to be in Ephesians 4:17, and we're going to go all the way to 5, verse 2. With the Lord's authority, I say this. Live no longer as Gentiles do, for they are hopelessly confused. Their minds are full of darkness, and they wander far from the life God gives because they have closed their minds and hardened their hearts against Him. They have no sense of shame. They live for lustful pleasures and eagerly practice every kind of impurity. But that isn't what you learned about Christ. Since you have heard about Jesus and have learned the truth that comes from Him, throw off your old sinful nature and your former way of life, which is corrupted by lust and deception. Instead, let the Spirit renew your thoughts and your attitudes. Put on your new nature, created to be like God, truly righteous and holy. So stop telling lies. Let us tell our neighbors the truth, for we are all parts of the same body. And don't sin by letting anger control you. Don't let the sun go down while you are still angry, for anger gives a foothold to the devil. If you are a thief, quit stealing. Instead, use your hands for good, hard work, and then give generously to others in need. Don't use foul or abusive language. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. And do not bring sorrow to God's Holy Spirit by the way you live. Remember, He has identified you as His own, guaranteeing that you will be saved on the day of redemption. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, harsh words, and slander, as well as all types of evil behavior. Instead, be kind to each other, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God through Christ has forgiven you. Imitate God, therefore, in everything you do, because you are His dear children. Live a life filled with love, following the example of Christ. He loved us and offered Himself as a sacrifice for us, a pleasing aroma to God. Our first point this morning is the contrast between the old us and the new us. We can see in verse 22 where Paul compares our old carnal, fleshy life to the contrast of our new life, living in Christ. When we think about what the Scripture calls sin, we get some pretty good word pictures here, don't we? Sin is filthy rags. We talk about sin as being a plank in our eye, chains of bondage. So we get quite a few words. But when we start thinking about this old fleshly carnal self, the sinful nature, how many of you have seen the movie Jeremiah Johnson? You remember that big old heavy, nasty buffalo coat he used to wear? All right, it's cool. Anybody in here Googled this week what a buffalo coat would cost. I will never be able to afford one. Okay? They're thousands of dollars. But think about this coat that Jeremiah had, right? When I think of fleshly sin, that's what I think of, that big old heavy buffalo coat. You put it on, you know it reeked to high heaven. But it was probably very comfortable and very warm. But it was also, I'm sure, very heavy. Probably around 30 pounds dry. Yeah, now think about a mountain man wearing a buffalo coat in the mountains. What's in the mountains? Snow, water. Now imagine getting that 30-pound dry coat wet. Dude, that's a 100-pound barrier. Whew. I don't want to look that good. Right? So it's a real good analogy of our fleshly sin. Right? It stinks. It's heavy. It's awkward. But yet it provides this comfort. Why? Because it's our natural nature, right? We're comfortable in our sin. This is why God had to come and deliver us out of it, because we were hopeless to try to do that on our own. But I want to talk about this stink for just a minute, because you know sin stinks, right? Do you know sin stinks to high heaven? It does. To high heaven. Isaiah 65:5 says, "These people are a stench in my nostrils." This is God talking, by the way. And it's an acrid smell that never goes away. So sin is smelled all the way to heaven. But family, did you catch what Paul's actually saying? He says we have to throw it off. We just can't take it off. Have you ever thought about that? That sin is entangling. Yeah, we're comfortable with it. We're comfortable with it. It's heavy. It's awkward. So it's not like we just drop it. What's going to happen? Same thing happens all the time when you drop it. You just stumble and fall right back in it. But if we cast it off and get it away from us a little bit, then our feet are free to move. We don't have to worry about tripping and breaking an ankle. So this casting it off becomes really important. Because we all know how easy it is to trip and fall back into sin. But then verse 24 says, "Put on your new nature, created to be like God, truly righteous and holy." Hear me this morning, family. When God provides our salvation, when we make this transformation and we become this spiritual dwelling place of God, we change. We now have the ability to live a righteous and holy life. And we don't like hearing that, because that's not what we're comfortable with. But you have been given God's Holy Spirit so that you can accomplish and defeat sin, right? We can accomplish whatever God has set before us. We don't have to be a burden or chained to slave or a slave to sin anymore. We've been given the power to defeat and walk away from it, if we choose. See, and here's where the rub is. We have all this spiritual power to be these great spiritual champions for God. But what do we choose to do with it? Most of us, nothing. Why? Because we're rebellious. We like it in our sin, even though God provides a much better place, doesn't He? I want you to imagine this new creation that God has turned us into. He's got us all cleaned up. And He provides us with this new suit. By the way, it's a running suit. And it is a super high-tech running suit. Ultra light, ultra thin, super warm, breathable, waterproof, form-fitting, custom fit for you and you alone. Custom fits you to a T, and it's the most comfortable garment you've ever put on. You put this on and just standing there in it, you look fast. look sleek. You look like a cheetah, ready to run. I know for some of us, we really have to use our imagination to be a cheetah, but we can get there. Now imagine, God's got you all cleaned up, and He gives you this super cool running suit, and you put it on. And oh my land, what an amazing experience. You have never felt like this ever in your life. You feel amazing. And this suit, it's so comfortable. It's so perfect in every way. It even has that fresh out of the box new smell. You know what I'm talking about. Man, new duds. Right? When you put it on, you actually feel like a superhero. It just makes you want to go. But then what happens? You're feeling awesome. You feel invincible. But what happens? You have to take the suit off. You're cleaned up. You're cool looking. Now, you have fallen into sin. You got to take the suit off, and you got to put back on that buffalo stinky, nasty, heavy coat. Why would I want to do that? Why would we want to do that? But yet we do it every day. We pick up those filthy rags, and we put them back on, and we put that high-tech running suit in a box. And then we have to repent. Right? And poof, we got our new suit back on, we're ready to go again. But we deliberately, rebelliously continue to fall into sin. And sometimes, man, it's not an accident. Sometimes we deliberately walk right in, open the door, and step into it, don't we? We do. Listen to Hebrews 12:1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up. And let us run with endurance the race that God has set before us. God equips us to run the race. He gives us a running suit. He prepares us for this race. And Paul continues to encourage us to shed off the old and keep on the new. And as we pass on down through this passage, he gives us some insight on how we can stay in this new suit. Verse 23. We are to let the Spirit renew your thoughts and your attitudes. So our second point. We should see a contrast between our thoughts and our attitudes. Old thoughts, old fleshy thoughts, new creation, new thoughts, new attitudes. Right? There should be a difference. And the world needs to see this stark contrast in us as Christians. We are different. We're supposed to be different than the world. We should stand out when we wear pink. Let me share this old Chinese proverb with you. Be careful of your thoughts, for your thoughts become your words. Be careful of your words, for your words become actions. Be careful of your actions, for your actions become habits. Be careful of your habits, for your habits become your character. And be careful of your character, for your character becomes your destiny. So true. That's why I love my Bible. It took all that paragraph from a Chinese guy and put it into one sentence. Proverbs 4:23. Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. I think I really find it interesting sometimes how Paul is able to tie things together. Paul connects our heart's attitude to our thinking and to our speech. We see this in verse 25 and 29. Instructing us to stop telling lies. Let us tell our neighbors the truth, for we're all parts of the same body. And verse 29 says, don't use so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. We want to have a contrast from the world. We want to be different. All we have to do is stop telling lies. Just think about that right now in our society today. Quit lying. What? Quit lying? Yeah, quit lying. And you'll stand right out above the crowd. It'll be quite obvious who you are and what you stand for. Now, when did it become okay to lie? When did that happen? I mean, we see it everywhere, on the news, on the TV, in our politicians. It's like it's okay. It's not. We want the world to see we're different than them. All we got to do is speak the truth. And guess what? Sometimes we're going to hurt their feelings. Okay? Because the truth can hurt, right? Sometimes it's offensive. Okay? So say it in love and grace the best you can. If they're offended, you have still done your job. You have spoken the truth. And that is your job as God's child. You can love them, but they need to know the truth. Here's the other part of this verse, verse 29. It just seems impossible some days, right? To think about trying to make sure everything that comes out of my mouth is encouraging and helpful. Honey, do I do that? She loves me. She's not going to answer. I told you I'm her angel. There's no way every day that I could do that. I could try. So maybe the solution is we take a vow of silence and just don't say anything. You guys ever heard of John Francis? He did this. He took a vow of silence, and for 17 years, he said nothing. And you know why he did it? Because he realized that he wasn't really listening to people. He wanted to interrupt and just argue with them all the time. He wouldn't even let them finish their thought. And he realized that's not Christ-like. That's not good behavior. So he took a vow of silence to learn how to listen. What? To learn how to listen? 17 years? Okay, for some of us it may take that long. All right? But there's some real wisdom right here, family. We all need to be better listeners. I mean, what's the old saying? God gave us 2 ears and a mouth for a reason, right? We're supposed to listen twice as long as we speak. Makes perfect sense. So most of us need to just sit and listen. How do we show people we care? We listen. Honestly, they don't care about what's going on in my life. They care about what's going on in their life. So if I'm listening to them, it shows that I care, right? If I'm interrupting them to tell them, hey man, have you seen, I got this boil, it just won't, right? They don't care. Listen to what's going on in their life. That's what Jesus did. Okay, so it might not take you 17 years, let's be honest. Some of you in this room couldn't make it a day of being silent. I may be that person too. I don't know, I think I could make a day if I was alone. Now, I feel good. Could do it. So, I couldn't make it 17 years. I couldn't make it a week. I probably couldn't make it a day, but maybe there's something we could do. Maybe we could choose to not to complain about things for a whole day. How many of you think you could go a whole day without complaining? Oh man, I'm so proud of you. Let's put it on the calendar. We'll have your spouse test you, and we'll see if you can make it a whole day. I think some of us could. No, I don't know that we could. But here's what I can tell you right now: the world needs to see our attitude. Now, let me put this in a box. They need to see our positive attitude. Right? They need to see the joy in our lives because of what we believe. We need to, and this is not a big step, we need to have a better attitude than the world. Is that really hard? Let's be honest. Right now, family, we should be knocking that one out of the park. But you know what happens when we get up the bat? We bunt. If I want to have a bad attitude today, I'm going to have a bad Listen to Philippians 4, 8, and 9. Now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Keep putting into practice all you learned and received from me, everything you heard from me and saw me doing. Then the God of peace will be with you. I mean, there's a promise right there. There's a big promise right there. And the God of peace will be with you. What am I going to have? What God's going to be with me? The God of peace. So no matter what turmoil I'm in my life, if I'm following this practice, God's going to be with me, and I'm going to have peace in that situation. Third point. There should be contrast in our source. Hear me. On the last day, the climax of the festival, Jesus stood and shouted to the crowds. John 7, 37 through 38. Anyone who is thirsty may come to me. Anyone who believes in me may come and drink. For the scripture declares, rivers of living water will flow from his heart. Acts 1:8. But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you, and you will be my witness, telling the people about me everywhere in Jerusalem, throughout Judea, in Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. As Christians, we need to grasp this, because this is where some of you get frustrated and you derail. As Christians, you only have one source, and that is Jesus Christ. Okay? Everything that you need to sustain you, to give you joy, peace, comfort, satisfaction, whatever it is, comes from Christ if you are his child. If you're looking anywhere else, it leads to frustration, anger, resentment. Okay? There's nothing over here. There is nothing of the world that will satisfy a child of Christ. It all comes from our Savior, and it's an overflowing, raging fountain that when you accept it will flood your life. As a believer, that overflowing fountain flows to us. And it's supposed to flow through us. And if we're not letting it flow through us, we're nothing but the Dead Sea. We were designed to take and receive and give. Take and give. Take and give. This is how we are tested. All of our hope and all of our surety comes from Jesus Christ. There is nothing of this world that can do that for us. No money, no fame, no power, no health. Nothing. It's all found in Jesus. We talk about flowing rivers. Did you know that a source for a river never knows where the river ends up? Did you ever think about that? The source never sees the end. It just keeps putting out the water. I thought that was kind of cool. Jesus says that if we have received his fullness, rivers of living water will flow out of us, reaching in blessings even to the end of the earth. And I think that what's important is, regardless of how small those visual effects in our lives may seem to appear, we don't feel like we're really having an effect on anyone. We don't feel like God's doing anything through us. We just kind of feel like we're falling into the same routine. But guess what? It's not your job to see how the outflow is working. It's just your job to be the vessel. Right? God is the one that delivers the outflow out of us. So somehow we think we have something to do that. Nope, you're just the vessel. You're just being willing to do whatever God tells you to. And if you're walking in unity with your Father, then you are automatically, naturally flowing those springs. And we forget that. Why is it so important as Christians to be in fellowship with our God? Because if we're not, we're a dry well. And there's a thirsty world out there looking for a drink, and they come up to us and they get blankets. Dust. We need to be obedient, walking with our God, serving him. Because as we learn Scripture, we'll realize, and where we get excited all this outflow just continues to build. God reveals these miraculous things to us. And as we're walking in obedience, all of a sudden we realize this river, this flow can expand and grow through my obedience, and it can bless more and more. Because it has no end. And it has an infinite potential. Now let's spin that around a little bit. Maybe we should be praying that God makes us all these mighty flowing rivers. What would that accomplish? Well, that means we would be flowing blessings to our whole community. Right? And we'd be shaking this community because God is using us to reach our community as we were designed. Point 4. There should be a contrast in our aroma. Paul reveals a couple of things here in verse 31 through 32 real quick. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, harsh words, and slander, as well as all types of evil behavior. Instead, be kind to each other, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God, through Christ, has forgiven us. Last week we talked about the overflow of love, right? Shows our spiritual maturity. Well, now he just puts it in check, doesn't he? Because he says that from the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks, right? All these things that we didn't even think we were come spewing out once in a while. Jealousy, envy, rage, anger. Sometimes they surprise us. Strongholds that God reveals in our life once in a while. But Paul has a solution. He tells us to walk with God in consistency so that we don't keep falling in and out of relationship. There's a few things we need to do. And he figured out the one big part was that we need to forgive people just like Jesus forgave people. And let me tell you a little secret. People say, well, I forgave them. Well, if you truly forgave somebody, you'll quit talking about how they hurt you. Right? Because it doesn't matter anymore, because you have forgiven them. And from personal experience, once you forgive somebody, it's liberating. The problem is we don't realize how much power and authority we give people over our lives when we harbor bitterness towards them. When we don't want to forgive them because they hurt us. Hey, doesn't matter if they ever forgive you, as long as you forgive them. It changes your life. Talk about breaking chains loose. When we truly just let it go. And just reset, say, you know what, Father, I'm giving all that hurt, all that ache, and all that frustration to you. I'm forgiving them. I'm just letting it go. And instantly, we quit harboring resentment for that person. We quit hanging on to bitterness and anger. I mean, we all know these people in our lives, and we see them and call them sourpusses because we don't ever see them happy, and they profess to be Christians, but we don't ever see them smile. Why? It's because bitterness and jealousy are a cancer to the soul, and they will kill it. And you become what we call a crusty Christian. Nobody wants to be around you. Why? Because you have a bad attitude. You match the world. There's no joy in you. Why? Because you have never let it go. I'm going to leave you with one question. Actually, I'm going to leave you with a couple of questions. Which would you choose to be? An odor that stench reaches all the way to heaven, because we all know sin stinks to high heaven, right? Because you're harboring anger and bitterness and jealousy. And if you're doing that, it means you are stinky. Right? You're not where God wants you to be, so that means you're stinky. And if you're stinky, then you're grieving the Holy Spirit, and we're not supposed to be doing that. So all of a sudden we're back in sin again, aren't we? Or will you choose to be a pleasant aroma to God? Have you learned the freedom that comes for forgiving others? each other and encouraging each other, serving one another? Are you living a life of obedience to King Jesus? Can people see a contrast in your life from theirs? If you can answer these questions yes, then you are what I call a 215 Christian. You think, well, what's a 215 Christian? 2 Corinthians 2:15. Our lives are like Christ-like fragrance rising up to God. What would a Christ-like fragrance be? How many of you live in a neighborhood and can tell when the neighbor, like maybe behind you a block, lights up is Weber with Kingsford's charcoal? Oh man, somebody's putting a cue on. Oh. Right, we all, anybody doesn't like the smell? Raise your hand if you do not like the smell of barbecue grill. That's what I thought. Only vegetarians. Okay. Think about it. A pleasing aroma. That's what comes to my mind when I said, am I being a pleasing aroma to God? Hey, you know, God liked the smell of barbecue. Let's go back to the Old Testament. They were always burning animals. There's always barbecuing something. It's like burning meat. A pleasant aroma to our God. That's what we're supposed to be doing. I'm going to leave you with this verse. Imitate God. Therefore, in everything you do, because you are His dear children, live a life filled with love, following the example of Christ. He loved us and offered Himself as a sacrifice for us as a pleasing aroma to God. So start with your family. Make sure, hey, it's hard, I get it. Make sure you're a pleasing aroma to your family. Most days we just stink. Okay? Sorry, it's the truth. We just stink. Let's work on being that pleasing aroma to our family. And then when we get good at being a pleasing aroma to our family, let's extend that to our church family. Let's be good at pleasing aroma here. And then if we really get that figured out, then let's take it out into the community so we all smell delicious. That's our goal. That's what we're called to be. Let's pray. Father, we just